So we tackle about Chapter 6, 3.1. Step for setting up an FSMS in a company. So before we proceed, what is FSMS? FSMS is a food safety management system. So what is a food safety management system? Food safety managed system is a program that aims to prevent food safety hazard from causing adverse health effect on customers. Food safety management system also help food business operation comply with international standards and regulation. So what is the purpose of a food safety management system? The purpose of a food safety management system is to ensure that food is safe to eat and will not lead to outbreaks of foodborne illness among customers. Food incidents or concern about the safety of food can harm the food business operation reputation in the industry. Next is setting up an FSMS in a company requires a 4-step strategy. First is define the product, characteristic, market requirements, and customer needs. Dito sa number 1 is define the product. Dapat alam natin yung product. Alam natin yung characteristic, yung katangian na kung safe ba tong product na to or hindi. So, next is market requirements. Dito naman sa market requirements is a strategy document written by a product manager or product marketing manager to help define the market's requirements or demand for a specific product. So, dito naman sa customer needs, customer need is a need that motivate a customer to purchase a product or services. Next is number 2. Contract the operation flow diagram or product life cycle. Product life cycle is the business analysis that attempt to identify a set of common stage in the life of commercial product. In other words, the product life cycle, PLC, is used to map the lifespan of a product such as the stage through which a product goes during its lifespan. The stage of product life cycle can be classified as follows: introduction, growth, maturity, decline. Product life cycle. Next is number 3. Establish control and self-evaluation procedure at each step of the process. As a manager for an up-and-coming fast food burger, you have worked hard with your company strategy, planning, team to set goals and develop business standard. To make sure these standards are upheld, your company use a control system which monitors and evaluates the progress toward your goals. The 4-step process of control helps you to ensure that appropriate goals are set, evaluated, and modified when there is a discrepancy. First step are establish performance standard. Number 2 is measuring the actual performance. Number 3 is comparing actual performance to the standard. And number 4 is taking corrective action. Next is number 4. Define and establish a traceability system. Set up a documentation system. Isa to sa ability to trace all processes from procurement of raw materials to production, consumption, and disposal to clarify when and where the product was produced by whom, due to improving product quality and the rise in safety awareness in recent years. Next is gradually, as the project takes shape, the need for complementary skills will become apparent. A capacity building program for operation at all levels in the company is to attract skills from outside the company by creating jobs. We will return to each for this step below.
Okay, let's continue. Defining the product. To define the product, it is necessary to provide a full description of the product. Meaning, magbigay ng buong paglalarawan ng produkto na tumutukoy sa mga katangian nito. At ito ay ang mga perishability, storage condition, protective treatment, packaging, maturity at harvest, preservation condition at the point of sale. At ang puntong ito ay tinatalakay ng detalyado sa mga kabanata 1, 3, and 4. Meet customers' need by answering each of the following question. First, who are these customers? Second, what do consumer and buyers importing products expect? What do they want to know about the product? Third, what key information do they expect to see? Fourth, what are the product characteristics and elements to be highlighted? Examples of information sought by customers. Plant protection product. Product name, quantity, date, and usage condition. Number 2, fertilizer. Product name, quantity, date, and usage condition, origin of the organic fertilizer. Third, seed or seedlings. Supplier name, presence of absence of GMO. Fourth, planting types of soil, disinfection, previous crop, date of planting. 5. Irrigation, origin and quantity of the water, quantity provided. Number 6. Harvest maturity, harvest date, quantity harvested. Customers' needs are also taken into account in private standard, meaning, dapat matugunan ang mga kinakailangan na regulation, kilalanin at suriin ang mga regulation para sa particular na uri ng production. Examples of information on fruit required by French regulation. So, ito po yung 5 na example. Una po, maturity in degrees Brix. Second po, qualitative characteristic of the lots, sold variety, category, grade, and weight. Third po, identification and origin of the product lot number. Number 4 po, registered of product, quantity, and pesticide residue inspection. Number 5 po, harvest maturity, harvest date, quantity harvested. Meet the specific requirements of the company, meaning, kailangan matugunan ang mga partikular na pangangailangan ng kumpanya. Dapat na naka-highlight ang data na ginagamit sa buong linya ng produksyon. Ang pagkolekta, pag-archive, at paggamit ng data na ito ay responsibilidad ng kumpanya upang mapabuti ang pangkalahatang paggana at relasyon nito sa mga producer. Examples of useful information for improving quality management in the company. First, raw material quality on receipt at the pack house. Second, cold storage duration and condition, temperature controlled atmosphere. Third, performance of the grading system. Fourth, customer destination of the dispatch product. Number 5, identification for person involved in the process. Number 6, treatment and follow-up of customers' compliance.
Analysis of the cycle of the product. So, it is the starting point for all work to build a product safety system. The life cycle of the product describes the different stages or operations carried out from primary production to distribution. It involves drafting a flow chart to represent the operations carried out in the company in a logical sequence. So, we identify the main activities. Prepare a list, number each activity, identify coherent activity groups.
In this part of our discussion, we're going to tackle about the processes and management using a system approach. The basic concept of underpinning this approach is that of process, in line with the ISO 9000. First, before we proceed to the system approach, we're going to ask this question. What is a process? According to ISO 9000 into 2000, a process is a set of interrelated or interacting activities that transform an input into output. It should be noted that a process aims to add a value into a certain product. In answering these three following questions, we're going to simply understand what a process is. In the first, we have who, the person involved in a particular process. Next, we have the what, the activities involved or in the added value. And lastly, we have the how or with what. It is the process or the following step to be conducted in performing this approach. Next, we have a systems approach to processes. What is a system approach to processes? For management of the food safety and quality control system to be effective, the links between the processes have to be organized and the different operations to be performed by a system approach organized. The idea is to identify, understand, and manage a set of interrelated processes that function as a system and that help to achieve a certain goal and contribute to the effectiveness of the product and the efficiency of the organization.
So, dito sa system approach to processes, we tackle about the food safety. Kung paano ba natin ma-manage ang food safety, ang kaligtasan natin sa pagkain. Mga processes para may ayos to, kailangan natin i-organize. May different operation na nakapaloob sa system approach. Understand and manage a setup of interrelated processes that function as a system. At makakatulong to para ma-achieve natin yung goal natin, para may ayos yung pag-organize sa isang sa isang management of food safety. Dito naman is kailangan may organize natin ng maayos yung gagawin natin para magkaroon ng magandang processes. Then, including process related to strategy planning. So, sa strategic planning, dapat may sarili tayong strategy sa pagpaplano para maging maayos at kailangan pag-isipan namin ito ng mabuti. Next is policy development. Sa policy development naman is encompasses several stage. Most policy models generally including the following stage. First is identify the issue to be addressed by the proposed policy. Second is placement on the agenda. Third is formulation of the policy. And the last is implementation of the policy and evaluation of the policy. Yan yung 5 para magkaroon tayo ng policy development. So, next is goal setting. Goal setting involves the development of an action plan designed in order to motivate and guide a person or group toward a goal. Goals are more deliberate than that desire and momentary intentions. Therefore, setting goal means that a person has committed through emotion and behavior towards attaining the goal. Effective management involves supporting, communicating with and uplifting team members so they perform the best of their abilities and continue to grow as a professional. So, next is market needs and demand. Dito naman is pumapasok yung needs, wants, and desire. yung kailangan mo, yung gusto mo, at yung desire, yung kagustuhan mo. So, in short, need are things that satisfy the basic requirements. What's a request directed to specific types of items? Demand are required for specific product that the buyer is willing to and able to pay for. In a customer market, examples are usually very clear to identify. Next is resource allocation and management. Ano nga ba to? Resource allocation is the process of assigning the best available resources to task the project. Dito pumapasok yung monitor. Nagkakaroon ng monitoring. Monitors workload to ensure under or overutilization doesn't happen. Then, if needed, people are reassigned based on current resource availability and project timelines. So, next is staff satisfaction. Ano nga ba yung staff satisfaction? Ito yung employee satisfaction or work satisfaction in a measure of workers' contentedness with their job. Whether they like the job or individual aspect or fact of jobs, such as nature of work or supervision. Job satisfaction can be measured in cognitive, affective, and behavior component. So, next is customer satisfaction and integration in the food chain. Ito naman is the supply chain and the background of a product in an aspect of growing interest in the contemporary world. Next is operational result and market integration. Dito naman is provide a number of social benefits, including broadening the range of financial services and investment. Next is examples of the type of processes required in the produce company applying a quality approach. Management processes. Management review. Controlling non-compliance quality planning. Documents and results management. Support processes. Human resources management processes. Facilities and equipment management processes, implementation processes, customer processes, listening and customer satisfaction dispute handling, action processes, rings management plan production, traceability, production monitoring and control, receipt of products, steering and measurement processes, data analysis and continual quality improvement, corrective and preventive action, quality audits, and internal inspection.
At each stage of a process, analyze the hazard and implement control measures. Ang priority ay kilalanin ang hazard at kalkulahin ang mga hazard sa kaligtasan ng pagkain sa pamamagitan ng paggamit ng HACCP system. Ngunit, dapat din nating isaalang-alang ang lahat ng iba pang hazard ng hindi pagsunod ayon sa mga layunin, tulad ng mga environmental hazard and ethical hazards. After identifying their causes, control measures that are known to be effective and economically viable need to be put in place.
The documentation pyramid. When starting to draft the documents, what is most difficult is to keep things simple to keep the company from drowning in a sea of documents. There is no need to describe everything. So, the quality manual is a document of some 30 pages describing the company's quality management system. The C Guide or C Evaluation Guide is a reference document that will be used by the company to establish its SMS, including analysis, its processes, and establishing its control procedures. So, to establish the documentation system, proceed as follows. Using process mapping, describe the the current status, verify it, correct as applicable, and confirm. In an agribusiness company, a documentation system will ideally include explanatory and described documents. So, dun po pumapasok yung the food safety management policy, description of senior management formal commitments, system organizations, hierarchy and functional organization charts, and etc. And procedures and instructions for risk control, and in particular, the procedures for types of records and a safety system documents management procedures.
We are here in the part of staff training. As recommended by the Elementarius or the European regulations, senior management must undertake train or educate all their staff about the direct and indirect food contact with the product and about the appropriate level of food hygiene. All company employees, including the seasonal and the temporary workers, must be made aware of the implication of poor food hygiene and the threat it poses to the food safety. This also applies to the other requirements, those which are not linked directly to the food and safety, the quality by which must be met. For example, the negligence by some staff members, throwing away the packaging, emptying dirty water tanks near a water source, or the working without suitable protection. Training needs. Training needs should be identified by analyzing the staff skills and the skill requirements. The training plan will be formalized and the training provided will be documented for use during the certification audits. These are some type and level of the training and the company staff in the product safety will depend largely on. First, we have vulnerability by the products to contamination. Next, the target market, the level of supervision in the company. Last, the level of responsibility given often depends to the various points. The level of responsibility given it often depends on the previous point. In analyzing and scheduling a training, the following must be distinguished. First, we have the general skills. It's about the technical knowledge that is particularly extensive and covers very diverse fields. Second, we have the operational skills. This is a more on the ability to perform an operation than the knowledge as such. It means being able to carry out a technical operation effectively. Last, we have behavioral skills. These are the ability to lead, to work in teams, to train others, to react in the event of problems, to suggest solutions, and many more. All too often neglected, these skills should be strongly reinforced for these in charge. The effectiveness of the training and awareness programs should be measured periodically to ensure they are appropriate. Here are some examples of the training topics. Here are some examples of the training topics according to the roles at the company. First, we have the senior management company head. The training topics must be strategic analysis, the market research, implementing the FSMS to access European Union markets, product management, company change management, the quality and traceability manager. The topics of a training must be the basic principle of food hygiene, quality control or HACCP, product traceability, procedures and records, market and customer requirements, documentary review, group leadership, and communication skills. Station inspectors, the proper in the training of the station inspectors, the following topic must be conducted.
A1. Procedures. Procedures are documents that describe the organizational rules and or processes defined within the company, which formalize who does what in a simple way. In a general sense, procedures can be defined as written and formal organizational rules, compliance with which ensures that the system functions normally. The procedure offer the general description of how to conduct one or more of the activities of a process under ISO. The company has at least 6 mandatory procedures focus on how the quality management system function: document management procedure, record management procedure, procedure for handling and non-compliant product, internal quality audit, procedures for corrective action and preventive action. Mga procedure para maging handa tayo. Firstly, define. What procedure model is chosen? What drafts the document content and validates complication of the procedures? Next is who disseminates the procedures and how. The last is who updates those documents and how. Next is then write the procedures in 4 stages. Describe the current status. Describe what should be. Describe what will be. Confirm. Next is clarify the purpose of the procedures and its purpose before embarking on the who does what description. In the content, use only permanent information, focusing on action to be repeated and for which standardization. Next is adapt and review the procedure according to change in the system. This determines its credibility and effectiveness. Procedure. A procedure should be compatible with any other procedure or practices. A central coordination body is therefore required. Useful. Written with stakeholder and quality assurance manager should not write the procedures alone. Next is adapted to its user, it is content and format. Next is known and available. The last is easy to apply. Next is advantage. The procedure clarifies and formalizes the organizational rules. It complements the identity card processes and content comprises the who does what. The document and may refer to the operating procedures or other procedures. Next is prequation. Keep it simple. A procedure can be written as text or if a process is simple as a flow chart. Next is do not go into detail. Next is prequation. Keep it simple. This is example procedure handling and complaint. Step is there have a verbal complaint and written complaint. In verbal complaint, there have recording. And written complaint, there have analysis of the complaint, first response to the customers, processing the complaint, final response to the customer confirmation, corrective action procedure. Then sa manager, and anyone, quality. Next is manager, anyone. Quality assurance manager, secretary. Quality assurance manager. Quality assurance manager, secretary. Tas, quality assurance manager with department.
And ito po yung steps. First, copy. Place 20 gram of ground coffee per person in the filter. Put the filter in the device. Fill the water tank according to the number. And turn on the coffee maker. And the coffee is ready. In summary, ang operating procedure ay nagdidetalye ng kung paano gumawa ng isang bagay. Ito ay nakalink sa isang tungkulin at isang function. And the operating mode or work instructions supplement the procedures by detailing how to carry out the task outlined in the procedures. The work instruction facilitate the handover of a role to a new post holder. At tiyak po na hindi sapilitan kung ang gawain ay ginagawa po ng isang otorisado o qualified person dahil ang antas po ng detalye ng pagtuturo ay nakasalalay sa mga kakayahan ng mga tao. And this means the job profile needs to be defined first. How should a set of work instruction be written? First, create a working group of at least one or more operators and a technical supervisor in order to write instruction for several people. The group may also include a methods or maintains representative. Second, assemble current know-how, propose improvement or simplification to practices, writing in user-friendly language so that the instruction can be fully understood. Third, list all the operations carried out in the role of chronological order, then group them if necessary into main sequences. And note for each operation the key points in the settings to be adjusted and the tools and equipment to be used. A key point is what determines proper execution of the work. And last, list the necessary controls and supervision.
As part of our discussion, we're going to tackle about the record management table. This is an essential checklist for the quality and traceability manager. Here is the example of the record management table. Tables provides an overview in a single document of all records of the quality management system, as well as their archive location and period. The records table aims to identify all quality management system records, including the storage location, the archive location, the archive duration, the type of archiving, and the mode of destruction. Therefore, it is important to keep them over a given period of time in order to present them to a customer, an auditor or regulatory body, and also to trace a document's location. In the last part of this discussion, we're going to answer the question, how should a table of records be prepared? First, list of the records to keep process by process, or as the chapters that define quality standard. Last, to define the responsibilities and storage conditions. The storage conditions should be ensured that the documents are protected, electronic documents or whether the hard copy documents, both in terms to access and of the environment in which they will be stored.
How should a table record be prepared? So, these are the general guidelines for preparing tabular data for inclusion in a repository or for sharing it with other researchers. Only include data in a data file. Do not include figures or analyze. consider aggregating data into fewer, larger files rather than many small ones. It is sometimes desirable to aggregate or compress individual files to a single file using a comprehension utility. Individual repositories may have specific requirements regarding file formats. So, organize tabular data into rows and columns. Each row represents a single record or data point, while columns contain information pertaining to that record. Each record or row in the data set should be uniquely identified by one or more columns in combination. Thank you.